Welcome. It's basically kickoff time here for Super Sunday Manchester Derby. Um, it's gonna be a live stream. It's gonna be the first one I'm doing on this channel, so it's gonna be a little bit interesting. I can't even tell if people can hear me, so I would actually appreciate if there are any issues for someone to drop it in the chat as well for the live stream. So I'm going live here. Hopefully, I can have a few people actually join me on here, and it's not just me. So I'm just gonna be figuring this out as we go. So the game is about to kick off here. Just give me one moment. We're gonna get right into it here in a bit. I'm just gonna confirm that this is actually streaming. So just give me 1 second here. Yeah, so welcome. So I'm just gonna test a few things. Just want to see if the audio on this works. Yeah, so welcome. Yeah, sorry if you heard basically any echo on there. So gonna get started. Seems to be fine right now. Hopefully it stays that way, and we're gonna get right into it. I'm gonna be dropping the link as we go. If you wanna come in, basically, you gotta have your video on. Um, for for this as well, I'm just gonna be getting this sorted out here. So I'm just gonna go through the lineup here pretty much. It just seems both lineups. The game has begun. Manchester United will be playing a 3-4-3 formation, and then we also have Manchester City on a 3-2-4-1 formation. That's actually interesting. You got Haaland all up in attack. Just 1 minute, guys. Okay, I'm just gonna take a quick look here. So let's see. We're just gonna watch this along. Actually, on this live stream, I'm not actually showing the game on the live stream. So basically, you just watch it somewhere else, and we just do some commentary. I had a friend tell me that this is gonna be an interesting game, and for me, it's gonna be a fun game to watch because either way, I'm gonna enjoy the game. Um, these are two teams I could. I don't really care who wins or who loses the game, so that's gonna be interesting for me. So either way, I'm gonna enjoy it. New coach, Ruben Amorim, and also we have Pep Guardiola's team here struggling. So yeah, just making sure that this is coming through good. I'm gonna put a link soon. Also go through the game here. Just give me 1 minute. trying to get the link here for the live stream put in the chat, just so I can proceed and basically focus on the game. So there's gonna be a delay on it. So if you're watching the game, I'm gonna be probably about a minute late on the stream here. So live. All right. Okay. So let's get right into this game. I'm just gonna be watching it here on the side and leaving some commentary. We're expecting Danny to come on the stream. We're gonna see how that goes. Hopefully, technically, that's all good. If there's any issues on the sound, please, whoever is watching, just let me know in the chat, and I can take a look at that. Whether it's audio, video, everything seems to be going fine right now. Hopefully, um, it stays that way. So I'm gonna go quickly here and basically just look at the teams. It's 5 minutes into the game and it's 0-0 at the moment. I'm looking here, as I said earlier, Man City is employing a 3-2-4-1 formation, and that's Ederson at goalkeeper. The three center backs or defenders would be Vardiol, Ruben Diaz, and Kyle Walker. And then in midfield, there's going to be two deep midfielders in Nunes and Ike Gundogan. He's going to applying four offensive midfielders in Jeremy Doku to the left, Bernardo Silva to the right, De Bruyne and Foden coming through the middle, and top nine center forward would be Erling Haaland. And then Manchester United will be deploying a 3-4-3 formation. I'm guessing this is the favorite formation for Ruben Amorim, with three center backs. There's Lisandro Martinez, Maguire, and De Ligt on the back line. Andre Onana is the goalkeeper. Manuel Ugarte and Fernandes in the holding positions in midfield. Diogo Dalot, left wing back, and Mazraoui, right wing back. You got Ahmad, Mount, and Rasmus Højlund up forward for Manchester United. So we're going to be taking a look at that as well. Let me see here. Yep, so it just seems to be a slow game at the moment, right? So let's see how that goes. Just basically gonna be talking football here throughout the game, seeing basically analyzing what we see here in the game. It's a Manchester derby, so you know both teams actually care about winning this game, even though their seasons don't go, always not going the way the fans would expect at the moment. They would both want to win this game for bragging rights in Manchester, so that would be interesting to see. Let me see here. This is going to be a first time for me. It's going to be 2 hours. I hopefully don't want to do this talking all alone, but we'll figure out how people actually get through this commentary and this talking for 2 hours, analysis, commentary, all that, and see how that goes for the next 2 hours, probably, unless there is significant amount of extra time in the game. So I'm just gonna see here. Yes, and also the link is on the chat. Basically, if you want to show up, it's gonna be basically video. You just want to make sure. We'll see how the connection goes on here. Hopefully, get people on here as well to discuss and watch along the game as well. Just a few things. We're gonna just review Premier League, Champions League games. We're gonna be talking about other games as the game goes, and kind of note interesting things that actually happen in the game as it goes. So as of right now, it's about 9 minutes into the game. It's still 0-0. I wouldn't say there's anything significant that has happened so far in the game. Both teams still seem to be having almost a decent amount of possession over the course of the first 8 minutes. That's not a lot of data, but the game just started. Just gonna see who's gonna be able to control this game, take advantage of their chances as well. We might also be looking at other games that have gone. Interesting thing for me is just taking a look here. Crystal Palace went into Brighton and won Brighton 3-1. That's an interesting result as well in the Premier League today. The two teams in the Premier League yesterday. Interesting for me, but um, I guess it's not home through 0-0 with Everton, and you had Liverpool at home playing 2-2 in what I considered a decent performance, considering that they got a red card early on in the game. I think those are really tough. 2 weeks in a row, most of the big teams have played in the last 14 days, at least three, four, five games in 2 weeks for most of the teams playing in Europe. So a lot of the teams played midweek, a couple of midweeks ago in the Premier League, and then the teams that played in the Champions League, the Europa League or the Conference League, now played just this past midweek. That's a lot of games in 2 weeks in football. So I think that would have something significantly to do with some teams' performance as well. Just gonna see. Oh no, yeah, I can see that the network is a bit, but yeah, I think it's. I'm just looking at it here on the actual stream, so it's good. So, Mr. Danny, welcome to the watch along. I appreciate you being here. I didn't know how I'm going to do this talking for 90 whole minutes. Oh no, yeah, I can see that the network is a bit, but yeah, I think it's. Just looking at it here on the actual stream, so it's good. So, Mr. Danny, welcome to the watch along. Okay, so it seems the stream. Yo, guys, I'm still trying to figure out this live thing and how this goes. You know, just trying to get Daniel in here. It seems that we're having some video things. I'm gonna get that sorted out and get back into it. Yeah, and if you couldn't hear me for a few minutes, that was basically intentional. Just to get some technical things going here. Just gonna go a little bit a quick look in here. It's 18 minutes into the game. It's still 0-0. I can't tell you that I have an idea anything that has happened in the last 10 minutes because I basically wasn't watching the game for 10 minutes. So I'm going to try to get Daniel back here as well. Going to try to get this live thing sorted. So it's 18 minutes into the game. Still trying to get that sorted. Hopefully you can hear me right now. I'm gonna take a look. Okay. Welcome back.
Can you hear me
Thi-
now?
yeah, I can hear you. This is
Okay.
gonna be fun for the next 90 minutes figuring this out.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so one thing, I think your game, the sound is on in the background, right?
Good, good,
Yeah.
good, 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 good.
You want the sound to be on? You want to turn it off? This might cost like a whole copyright thing. Okay, thanks, man.
Oh, you mean the volume of the?
Yeah. The volume of the actual game might create a live stream copyright issue with YouTube, right? So,
Okay, I've reduced
okay.
it.
Okay, yeah. So we can just talk about the game. I think now I can get into this live stream itself. Can you hear me? Hopefully you can hear me. I'm just gonna make sure that on YouTube they can hear me. Let me see. Okay, so yes, we're good to go, Danny. Hopefully,
Okay,
get this started. Yeah, we're good to go. I think okay. So I'm gonna just take a break and allow you to get into it for like a few, like a few minutes, right? So what do you think? I was taking a look at the lineup a few seconds ago. Both teams are playing three center backs um, for this game.
uh-huh.
So I think Ruben Amorim, the head coach of Manchester United, is finally trying to get his three center back thing started,
Hmm.
right? For this team. Interesting enough, Man City is also playing. Actually, it has actually switched. That's interesting. At the beginning of the game, it looked like the formation they were playing were three center backs with Vardiol, um, Diaz, and Walker. And you had Nunes, Gundogan, deep line midfield. And
Hmm.
then four offensive players in Doku on the left, Bernardo Silva on the right, De Bruyne, Foden, and then Haaland center forward. But I'm just looking at the game right now. It's about 20 minutes into the game. And it seems that formation has changed. And now Nunes is playing a 4-1-4-1. And
Hmm.
now Nunes is playing left back. So I don't
Yep.
know if that was intentional switch or just these guys are trying to adjust as the game goes. But what do you think about the game so far? Manchester United is playing three-man defense: Lisandro Martinez, Maguire, Delict, four in midfield, Dalo on the left, Mazwari on the right, Manuel Ugarte and Fernandez in the middle, and then Mount, Ahmad, and Rasmus Hoyland as a top nine. So what do you think so far?
I think by way of lineups, the two lineups that we have on display were expected, especially on the United side. Even from the lineup through to the formation that they are playing, Amorim is quite strict when it comes to his formation. He's not as flexible. So we knew it was going to be a three-back system. He's figuring things out with time as well. It's unfortunate Mason Mount got injured and he's been taken out for Zexi.
So yeah, in the last 20 minutes that happened.
Yes,
Was that an injury? I didn't. I actually didn't catch
yes,
that.
it was an injury. So clearly, there's a need. I feel there was. I've not seen a change of shape, even though Mount is out. But again, as I said, this was expected from United, and the game on both ends, it looks like they are the two tactically conservative people playing the game at the moment. Because given City's form, which hasn't been the best, Pep seems a little calculated, and of course they are playing against United. Regardless of whether they are on form or not, United always has a way of making things happen against them. From the seasons past, when they were high blazing to now that they are struggling. So the conservativeness is still there. City seems to have more of the ball because, of course, it's a Pep Guardiola side, so they don't want to dictate play by having more of the ball. But from the first 20 minutes, I feel United is very comfortable. They've gotten City to play how they want them to play, and they are not that much in trouble like that because City are not creating clear cut chances, right? That you would say, oh, these chances can be very detrimental to United. So on both ends, I think on the one hand, I expected the game to be boring, and it looks like it, because you have a Pep side that is struggling for form, and then you have a United side which is still trying to figure itself out because the manager is new. So the game is what it is. It's not as explosive as you'd expect because games between United and City are barely explosive. United tends to play on the back foot and then wants to catch them on the counter. City has more of the ball, as opposed to like games like City Liverpool, where it's usually end to end. Right. So far so good. I think both managers are tactically astute, and the game is not as free flowing, but it's nice to see or to enjoy, especially for me as an outsider of both teams because I suppose none of them.
No, that's interesting. I know for the last 20 minutes I was looking at the lineups trying to get this live going, so I actually haven't picked on that. I expected this game to be really a kind of a low scoring game. I think
Mm-hmm.
both teams are in a position where, if you ask me, I'll think Manchester City has the advantage, but they're not playing great. They're at home. They had more rest than Manchester United, and Man U
Mm-hmm.
has a new coach. In my opinion, that usually means a little bit of rest, but it's a Manchester derby. To me, it doesn't matter. Man U is going to come in here. Did you see this Ahmad chance? Oh, that might be an offside, actually. Um,
I think the
it's
downside here is our streams are not moving the same way.
Yeah, no, that's a disclaimer. We're probably gonna be like 1 minute minimum.
Exactly.
1 minute minimum. And both of us are not gonna be reacting at the same time to
Unfortunately.
chances. Unfortunately. So that would
Unfortunately.
be yeah, that would be the interesting thing. But I don't know if you've gotten to the Ahmad chance or not at some point, or if you saw that.
I've now got into the chance.
Oh, okay, yeah. So yeah, so it's gonna be going all over the place. So I might be a
So
little bit faster.
I think
About a
I'm quite,
minute.
yes, but like a minute to 2 minutes late.
Yeah, yeah. So no, that's happening. I even think I am about a minute late to
Okay,
the
I think
actual.
looking at the replay now, he would have been called for an offside either way.
Yeah, that's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think. I actually think it was a decent effort in terms of trying to put that on the near post.
I'd rather he
It
places
goes
it
on
at the
the
far
other
end
side.
because it is comparatively easier. But I think he played the shot on a stronger foot. So
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
usually in such instances where you need to make decisions in split seconds, you always go for your stronger foot, and that is what he did. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's interesting. So yeah, we're just gonna be on the side here watching the game basically, right? I'm talking about it. While we're doing that and it seems like there's no action basically on the moment till maybe we get a goal or we get something interesting or
yeah,
we get
I don't know. I think I am slightly disappointed in how Matthias Nunes has turned out.
You mean at Manchester
Um,
City?
yes.
What did you think of him as a player? I don't think I was someone that was high on him. Um,
No, I think he's one of those players that big fish, small pond
hmm,
situation when he was at Wolves. Right. So at Wolves, he was the big fish in a small pond. So anything he did, regardless of how basic it is amplified because he's doing it at Wolves. Right. But having moved to a bigger side, that is where you get it. You can tell that, okay, in as much as you are good in a setting or you are good somewhere, you do not seem to cut it as much at the highest level. The the same thing can be said for players like the same Wolves team, Pedro Neto at Chelsea.
hmm.
I've watched him consistently, and I'm like, yeah, you're not a bad player, but you don't have the wow factor for me either to play at the top side or to play at the highest level.
It-
But when we were playing against Pedro Neto when he was at Wolves, again, it was a big fish, small pond situation. So when you play against them, the slightest thing he does to hurt your team is amplified,
hmm.
right? But now that he's in a bigger side and he's expected to do that on a daily, week in, week out basis, you can now tell that, okay, there is, you are okay, but you are not as good. And then on even in the same Wolves side, they have now Matthias Cunha,
Hmm.
who is
From
doing
Wolves,
madness
right?
over there. Yes,
Yeah.
even though they are Gary O'Neill has been sacked this morning, but
Hmm.
even Wolves have
That
started the season
that defense, someone needs to get fired for how bad the Wolves
right.
defense is.
Wolves have started very, very, very poorly, and almost every time I've watched them, it is either Lima, that is the captain, or Cunha, who gets them the goals, right? And then now there are talks of big teams coming around Cunha, and so now there's a trend: Pedro Neto, Matthias Nunes, now Matthias Cunha, and then I have the same feeling I'm having about these two players that everything they are doing kind of looks a little amplified because they are playing in a quote unquote weaker side, so they look like they know what they are doing. But when they are to come into bigger sides where they are expected to hit the ground running and deliver on a consistent basis, there's going to be loopholes, and that is what I'm seeing with Matthias Nunes, and I am extremely disappointed in him.
The interesting thing for me is there is a general consensus that people um, always assume that theoretically something can be done
Mm-hmm,
until you do it. It's interesting because you cannot also know if it can be done until there is an opportunity to
mm-hmm,
do it. So it's a very
mm-hmm.
interesting thing. So a lot of all these players in small teams, sometimes you can perform well when the expectations are less. For Pedro
Yes.
Neto, the biggest skill I saw in Pedro Neto is that he's really fast. I
Oh,
didn't
he's very
think that
direct as well.
very direct and fast, but those are not things that are easily replicable at the highest stage when you play top defenders in the Champions League or stuff
Exactly.
like that. Those things are not easily replicable when you maybe you play lower teams and you get more opportunities, you play 90 minutes compared to when you play just 30 minutes. How much impact can you
Exactly.
have in 30 minutes? You know what I mean? Um, for someone like Neto and Nunes, usually guys like that, I always say if you want to buy players like that, don't have any expectation in the first year.
Mm-hmm,
For me, it's like when guys like Hebre Jesus came to Man City, Julian Alvarez came to Man City. I
mm-hmm,
usually, if you look very well, the best way for those guys to really start getting to play well is to give them a year to learn the language, get settled in the city, learn how to be
mm-hmm.
a big club manager, what is expected for you. So in my opinion, I guess injuries throws Nunes into the equation really quickly. But players like Nunes, for me, Pedro Neto shouldn't be starting at Chelsea. I don't think he should be starting. So it's tough for me to look at him and be like, I'm disappointed in him. I don't think he should be starting at Chelsea anyway. I
Oh,
think
but
people like Noni Madueke and stuff like that have a longer tenure in the team and stuff like that and expectations, in my opinion, more than I would expect for someone like Pedro Neto for Chelsea.
no, but I think on the one hand, I can get where you're coming from in terms of allowing players to settle in and then adjusting to the expectations of bigger sides. Okay, I think there's a break. at least on my
Yeah.
end. Ahmad.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think they did anything with
They didn't
that.
make the most of it, sadly.
No, they didn't. The game right now is just in midfield. They're just passing the ball um, basically around.
As I said, both teams are being overly careful and conservative. And
Yeah.
this has always been the case between these two sides when this derby is being played. So I I had my expectations coming in that this is how it was going to be, and I'm not surprised
Oh
it is
no.
playing out this way.
Yeah.
But back to what we were
Yeah.
talking about,
Yeah.
I can understand where you're coming from in terms of players getting time to settle in, adjusting to the new team, and whatnot. For players like Nunes and Neto, they are not new to the league, right? So
Yeah.
the argument about settling into the league doesn't work for them.
Oh yeah.
If you say,
Habre
okay,
Jesus and Alvarez will be a much bigger adjustment. Yeah.
yes, if you are coming from outside,
Yeah.
right? So we'll give that to them. They are familiar with the league. The reason why they were signed was because they were seen as world beaters in their small teams with lesser expectations. And then the feeling was if we are to upgrade them to a top side, we'd even see more of them because their quality is there for all to see. And then they've made the move, and then we are just not seeing, they are not cutting it as much. The argument about, again, I don't want to make this about Chelsea. Maybe this
Oh
will
no,
be,
we can make
yeah.
it about Chelsea because at this point the Manchester teams are not doing anything to bring us back.
But the conversation about Madueke doesn't impress me either, right? He was also signed from Feyenoord, and I don't think you want to call Feyenoord a big side. Maybe they have Feyenoord has some good history. You call Feyenoord a bigger side in a place like Netherlands,
Mm.
but for the past, I can even date as far back as 10 years. They haven't been forthcoming apart from Slot's final season with them, right, where they won the league. So you buy someone like Madueke. I wasn't impressed when the rumors came up about Madueke. I watched a few highlights of him, and I just wasn't impressed with his ball handling and just his general play. And quite clearly, it's showing that.
He's not. Do you think he's not having a good season this season?
That did he have a good season last season?
No, he did not have a good season last season.
Yes.
That's for sure. Yeah.
So this is his level. For me, I see him in the same light in which I saw Hudson Odoi.
Mm.
He's better off at a mid-table side where the expectations are lesser, and then he can play that schoolboy football that he plays. He plays as though there's nothing at stake. He plays as though he's the only one on the pitch. That kind of schoolboy football is meant for the likes of Wolves, Brighton and Hove Albion, West Brom, those sides. But in a team where you are expected to be on your game, look for look out for your marksman and then create chances, he lacks. Right. So again, that is where my opinion. So for me, I think the two of them, they are two peas in a pod. That is Neto and then Madueke. They are cut of the same cloth on the right side. We need someone who can come in.
Oh, I'm gonna spoil that for you, but something
There's a
interesting is
goal.
gonna something interesting. Yep, it's gonna happen in the Man U game soon. No, we're gonna wait together till you get there.
Hi, Jesus. My stream is. I'm on the 37th minute.
No, no, we're getting there.
So it looks like City has scored. Because the foul is against United. Where I am,
Yeah.
Bernardo Silva has been fouled.
That's gonna be interesting. What's going to happen next?
Okay, Doku. Oh, okay. So that's a corner. I don't know whether we are streaming live on on YouTube, but if we are streaming live, then the viewers should pardon us
Yes,
for
I
because
asked for the viewers to actually pardon our lateness in actually getting to the
yeah,
action. I think our stream is way slower than the actual YouTube stream
yes.
itself.
We sadly do not have the what's the name Futo or Fubo.
Fubo Sports.
I don't have that money to subscribe. I don't have that money. I
we
stream.
we stream we stream
Yeah,
online.
thank you. As to whether it is legal or not, you should mind your own business. But
We stream online. We find a way.
oh, Vadio,
Yeah, Vadio rising.
Vadio.
So we finally have action in this game.
Oh,
37th minute.
Vadio has been. I don't know. He's been like the dark horse for the City team
Oh yeah,
when
he's
it comes to
really
goals.
goals defending. Is like he's doing everything for the team this year, and
Yeah, he's been.
I think it's interesting too because when Vadio first came on the scene for Croatia, I thought he was a fantastic young player. I had friends that thought he was
Mm-hmm.
not that good, but I thought he was a fantastic young player. I think they spent over 70 million to get him.
90 million.
Yeah, well, 90 million to get him. I thought he was a fantastic, especially for his age. I thought he was good, and he's definitely paying off this year.
Yeah,
Well,
he's
what would
very
Mas-
young.
yeah, what would and that youth actually matters in terms of health and all that as well. So I think he's
Mm-hmm.
really stepping in for this Manchester United City team and actually being very
That he's been very,
productive.
very, very, very good.
Oh yeah,
The
he's
kinds
been.
of goals he scored, the the timeliness of some of his goals.
And it's not just
He's been
headers,
extremely good.
headers too. He
Yeah,
he strikes the ball. Yeah,
he's scoring world beaters. Like I sometimes I even question maybe I'm like the person that coached him at the youth level did him a big disservice
you
because the way
mean
he
the
strikes the
position
ball
he
is not.
plays?
Yeah,
You,
this
yeah.
is not how typical defenders strike a ball. Somehow
I,
some of the goals he scores.
I think at the youth level, when they start deciding what position you should play, I think height has a lot to do with it. Ooh,
Oh, on the one hand,
yeah, because he's a tall guy, right? Like you look on your
yeah,
team, you want the center backs that are tall. If you don't have a tall
going
guy,
strong.
you want to
Yeah,
push the guy that is tall to play either center back or top nine. There are two
yeah,
positions for those guys. And even when they are very good on the ball, just out of team need, there's a
yeah.
very high chance that they could be put in those. If you look now, he's playing a little bit of left back sometimes. You can see he's a very versatile player, but because of
No,
his
he's good.
height, you still consider him a center back, right? Like he can
No, of
step
course,
in. Yeah,
because he has to deal with the aerial threats every now and then.
yeah, exactly. So I think players like that, I think because of his height, he basically gets fit into either center back position or top nine.
Mm.
And either way, it just seems like wherever you put him, he's gonna be good at it anyway. So
No, the way he strikes the ball
yeah.
is not typical of defenders.
Oh no, it's
He's very
not.
good.
No, it's not at all. So he does a pretty good job. He does a pretty good job of it. In general. But yeah, so looking at the game now, Manchester City is up 1-0, so we can get back to this game before we go back to other football news. So what do you think? Manchester City is up 1-0. In my opinion, this game shouldn't be close. I'm not a huge Pep guy, but I think everything on this about this game says he should have the advantage. Man U is not a very good team. Yes, it's a derby.
Mhm.
As I stated earlier, new coach trying to play a new defensive scheme for
Mhm.
Manchester United. It's not a great recipe for them going on the road as well. And Manchester United, I didn't check that out. I don't know if most of their players played in their midweek game on Thursday. But Man City also had a little bit more rest, whether it is travel, preparation,
Mhm.
however you look at it, um, between playing in the Champions League. Um, other than is Man U in the Conference League or the Europa League? That's a detail I'm
Europa.
not. Then the Europa League, right? Okay.
They
So
didn't go to the Conference League because they beat City
oh, for
in
the
the
FA
FA
Cup
Cup
final.
final. Yes.
That FA Cup final that Manchester United was celebrating. Meanwhile, City had not
Yes,
practiced all week. They were drinking champagne all week. Kyle Walker
exactly.
was out in the streets all week. All this kind.
That win robbed us of playing in the that is the win that took us to the Conference League. Otherwise, we would have been in the Europa because Chelsea was still.
Yeah, that's true. Oh yeah, that's how they got. Okay, that actually makes sense. For them, no, good for them. As their former coach said, it's very important to win trophies. So that's good for
No,
them. Okay.
but I think yeah for this game, I am hoping at least now that one goal has been scored, it would open up a little more,
Mm,
um, just so United can also come to the party and then have fun on the pitch.
mm,
Um, I yes, City has a bit of the edge because with all the factors you mentioned, from longevity with the current coach they have to being having some extra rest and to being much more positioned because United has a new manager and the manager is trying. I think for me, Amorim is this is preseason for him, and from
exactly. Yeah.
most of his press conferences, from how he speaks, you can tell clearly that he's assessing a number of players and then making decisions
Yep.
as to whether they would fit into his system going forward or not. I know for one, Rashford will not make the cut, because from how he's spoken about Rashford, you can tell he's just speaking professionally.
Yep.
But he's just not impressed with him and then the quality he brings to bear. So he's likely going to get the far end of the stick in terms of being an integral part of his team going forward.
Mm.
So I think on the one hand, City has all to play for as compared to United. Right, the onus is on them to make things happen, and so far so good. Again, United City games are games I've never enjoyed. So I was not expecting, as I said earlier, anything different from this game either. But so far, again, as a neutral that is waiting to see Chelsea play a little later, I I am more than happy to pass away time with this game.
Oh yeah. For me, it's easier for me to watch this game and talk, just because I know it's not going to be that.
You do not have any vested interest,
I have little vested interest. It's
or
interesting
your
to talk
interest is to
about.
see Pep lose.
No, well, in this game, I also like seeing Manchester United lose. That's
You
why
want
I
to see
want.
them in pain.
I am very glad to see Manchester United squim this year till the end of the year. And for me, it's not very fun. I would have preferred it to be with Ten Hag, because I
Mm.
understand that it's tough for Amorim right now. So it's
Mm.
it's more difficult to me to be harder for me to be harder on him. I would have loved Ten Hag to be the one struggling um, at the moment, but Manchester United did what they should do. What I wouldn't have liked them to do, but what they should do.
Yeah, Ten Hag is with his parents in Netherlands. He's enjoying himself.
Having a good time with his
Yeah,
family.
he says
Uh,
anywhere he goes, he's going to win trophies. So
yeah, and he
United
wins
has come.
trophies. He wins trophies. You know
Who
what's
is that?
interesting about that quote that is interesting to me? It's like, I don't. It's interesting because it's like, I win trophies. You know what? If I'm a coach too, I will win trophies. In fact, in the local league or anywhere that I go, I win trophies because I can create my own trophy. I'll be like City Dice Cup. And you know what I will say to win the trophy is the requirement: showing up on time. So I totally understand Ten Hag when he says anywhere he goes, he wins trophies. Because if you want to understand him, you have to understand that he's not actually lying.
He's a serial winner.
He's a serial winner. Even though it is the Junior League Cup guys that created the crop trophy. Daniel, do we want to create a trophy on this channel? Maybe we should, we can also go and hand that.
I do not mind. I
Yeah, we
do not
can
mind
create
at
a you
all.
can create a trophy, watch along trophy, and then we can hand it to Manchester and Ten Hag. if if they actually choose. No, but it's what I hear all these things all the time, and I just laugh in my head, and I'm like, of course you can win trophies. Of course we can gather 2 days and say whoever shows up gets a trophy, participation trophies. and and he would get that as well. But it's so interesting to me that he uses that as an argument. And the funny thing is, some smart people would also, buy that as well as a trophy. But I think we just lost Daniel here. So I'm just going to be rambling a little bit. I'm going to go back to the game, a little bit of commentary on the game till can get Daniel back on the stream. It's almost halftime. It's 47 minutes. There's 4 minutes additional time in the game. Manchester City leads right now 1-0 with a Vardiol header. Um, Pretty good goal. And the game would almost be in halftime. So we'll see if anybody can actually create a chance or goal here before the half. In my opinion, kind of Man City is kind of controlling the game. So it will be interesting. I think Daniel is back. We'll get back into Manchester United. And then we'll get a halftime where we can go at a 15 minute, review as well while Daniel kind of gets situated to get on the stream here. But yes, it's almost halftime. Man City kind of is leading the derby right now. At some point, you will see a Phil Foden shot deflected by Harry Maguire as well. Um, Kind of, that was a pretty good attempt from Phil Foden, a corner kick as well, basically to end the half. I would expect this would be the last um, play of the half as well for that. So we'll see how that goes here. Another corner to end the half while we wait for Daniel as well. So yeah, this has been fun so far. During halftime, we're just going to talk about the game a little bit. Basically, if you're on the live chat, you can basically listen to the pundits or take a break. But I would use that opportunity just to, in the next 15 minutes, once Daniel is back, we're going to use that opportunity just to review Champions League results from the midweek quickly and also Premier League results so far. Chelsea hasn't played yet this weekend, so that would be an interesting preview that we could do as well while we go through this live stream um, as well. So we'll see how that goes here. Um, so yes, so from my stream here, it's halftime. So it's 1-0 at halftime. Both teams, having a little conversations about what's going on in the game. So it's halftime here. So I'm gonna go through it for anybody that's still on the live chat or basically on this live stream. I'm gonna do a little bit. We're just gonna do a little bit cleanup. 1-0 halftime. Vardiol with the lone goal of the first half. Crystal Palace earlier today beat Brighton away from home. So to me, that was a very interesting result. Um, Beat Brighton away from home. I'm gonna just check here. 3-1. That was an interesting game. I thought Brighton at home would put up a better performance, but if we're being honest about Brighton, they're actually struggling um, right now to end the season. So they got a consolation goal in the 87th minute, a McGrelhy own goal. Trevor Chalobah with the first goal in the 27th minute. Ismail Assar scoring two goals, 33rd minute and 82nd minute. Yesterday, round up in the English Premier League, Arsenal had a disappointing 0-0 draw at home to Everton. I really think these are tough games when these teams come from Europe, even when you play teams, in my opinion, that are not as good in Everton. Um, but still, you want to get like a 1-0 if you want to win the league or something in these games. For Arsenal, Liverpool 2-2 at home against Fulham, got an early red card here to Andrew Robertson at the 17th minute. And Diogo Jota with a clinical finish helping them get a 2-2 draw at home to Fulham. Newcastle 1-4-0 at home against Leicester. Nothing much to say here. Alexander Isak, Jacob Murphy were excellent in that game. Ipswich won Wolves 2-1, and according to what Daniel just told me, the coach of Wolves, Gary O'Neill, has been fired. They're just struggling at home. Losing 2-1 at home, that's a bad result for Wolves. So we'll
City, can you
see
hear
if.
me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you right now. So yes, I was just rounding up for whoever is listening the results from the Premier League, and the final one I just need to do will be Nottingham Forest beating Aston Villa 2-1. Dramatic late winner for Nottingham Forest from Antonio Elanga. Two late goals, 87th, but I think Aston Villa playing in Europe. This is not your typical big team, so struggling as well, playing Europe and lost to Nottingham Forest. Once Daniel gets back, we're going to do a preview of the Chelsea versus Brentford game. And also, we're going to look at midweek Champions League results, the notable ones that we can talk about. It's halftime at the Manchester Derby between Manchester City at home versus Manchester United. This Rasmus Holland, what is Kyle Walker doing? Like, did Kyle Walker truly go down saying he was headbutt? Like, there was a headbutt on him from Holland. Okay, that happened during the first half, so we'll see how that goes. Still waiting for Daniel to reconnect here on the live chat for this game. Okay, so we're gonna try again. See. Okay, so while I wait for Daniel to come back, I'm just gonna take a minute here. The live chat is still gonna be here. I'm just gonna mute this, and I will be right back in about a couple of minutes. So this is where you let me see. Interesting enough, you know how they go on commercial breaks. Is that even a thing? Okay, so just give me 1 minute. We're gonna take a quick break. We're gonna wait for Danny to get back here, and we're gonna go right back into it. Okay, so I kind of was going through a recap for the Premier League yesterday, but also now I'm gonna do a Champions League recap from mid-week. This is a very interesting time for me for most of the top teams because this is when you actually find out which team can handle it or not. Let me see. So from the Champions League this week, just gonna go through the results on Tuesday and Wednesday. There's gonna be a little break here till about January 21 before the Champions League is back. So a lot of these teams gonna look at the table as well with the whole new style in the Champions League on Tuesday. Liverpool went away from home and beat Girona 1-0. Mohamed Salah with a penalty to win that game for Liverpool away from home. Decent, good result. Dynamo Zagreb at home drew 0-0 with Celtic. Club Brugge won Sporting Lisbon 2-1 at home. Brest of France. Brest. That's actually an interesting thing. If you saw by any chance the clip on CBS Sports of the whole CBS Sports Champions League group for Micah Richards, Thierry Henry, and the host Kate, I think. I'm not sure what the first name is or the last name is, but the whole breasts clip highlights viral stuff was really funny. But breasts won 1-0 at home um, to PSV Eindhoven. Leverkusen at home beat Inter Milan 1-0 at home as well. Atalanta played a very interesting 2-3 home defeat to Real Madrid with Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius, and Jude Bellingham's all scoring in this game to lead Real Madrid to a 3-2 victory away from home to Atalanta. Ademola Lookman was on target for Atalanta in the 65th minute. PSG went away from home, beat um, Red Bull Salzburg 3-0 with two goals coming in the second half and Gonzalo Ramos scoring in the 30th minute for PSG. Bayern Munich went away from home and beat Shakhtar Donetsk 5-1. Michael Olise scoring two goals. Jamal Musiala, Thomas Muller, and Konrad Laimer also scoring in those games. And then you got Aston Villa going away from home and winning RB Leipzig 3-2 in that game. John Duran had a good game as well, scoring in the 52nd minute as well against RB Leipzig. Leipzig is doing very badly in the Champions League this season. And on Wednesday, December 11, we had Atletico Madrid beat Slovan Bratislava 3-1. Lille beat Storm Graz 3-2. Barcelona went away from home and won um, Borussia Dortmund 3-2. Feyenoord beats Sparta Prague 4-2 at home. Benfica 0-0 against Bologna from Italy. Arsenal beat Monaco 3-0. Juventus won Man City 2-0 with Dusan Vlahovic and Weston McKennie scoring both goals in that game. Stuttgart beat Young Boys 5-1 and AC Milan won Red Star Belgrade 2-1. Rafael Leao and Tammy Abraham on target for AC Milan. I'm going to look here at the Champions League table as a recall. I'm still waiting for Daniel to get back in the stream. Technical issues, guys, on the stream right now. So, just going to wait here for Daniel to get back on the stream. Daniel, can't wait for you to, we've been waiting for you to get back.
I can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Network has been rubbish.
Oh, yes. Try to figure it out. But yes, at least during the first half, we had a great run of technical, of getting this going in the first half here. So hopefully we can get that going. While you were away, I was just, holding down the fort here by just going through Premier League results this weekend. I was hoping when you get back, we're going to preview this halftime. We're going to preview the Chelsea game versus Brentford, and we're going to look at the Champions League table, why they take a break till January 21. At the moment, I already went through all the scores before you came back. So let's just start with the Champions League one before we get on Chelsea, because I was already on that. I'm going to read out the table here. We know there's a new format. Everybody is basically 1 to 36. I'm going to read out the bottom 5 teams and the top 10 and the notable guys like Real Madrid at 20, just to see where teams are right now in this table. To the best of my knowledge, I think is it the top 24, top 16 teams go to the next round?
I think it is the top 8 has automatic qualification, and then the other 16 after them would have a playoff amongst themselves. So the extra 8 from there will join the 8 that has advanced already automatically. So it makes the round of 16.
Okay, so going to the next round would be.
So we are now going to the round of 16, and the teams that will be composed in the round of 16 would be the first 8 that have automatically qualified.
Okay, so
and then
top,
the bottom.
Yeah. I'm just trying to make sense of it. So the top 8 teams automatically qualify to the round of 16.
Qualified to the round of 16. They are waiting for the extra 8 to come and join them.
Oh, so the teams finishing in 9th to 24th place compete in a two-legged knockout
Competes
phase. Yeah.
exactly.
To secure their path to the last
Round of
16.
16. Yes.
And then the bottom 25th or lower will be eliminated and have no
For them,
access to
they're
the
out.
Europa League. And you know, before, if you came third, you go to the Europa League. So does that mean the teams that get knocked out between 9 to 24 go to the Europa League?
No, they are out completely. There's nothing for them.
No, here, okay, wait, let's see. Here it says the teams that finish 25th or lower because there are currently 36 teams, right? That means if you
Mhm.
don't go to the knockout, the two-legged knockout phase, you're eliminated from
Mhm.
everything. You don't go to the Europa League.
Yes, you don't have anything at all. You are out. That is, if I'm not mistaken. I stand corrected, but I
Oh
believe
no,
this
no,
is
I'm looking at the rules from the Champions League page. I'm also trying to understand it. So my point is, does anybody from the Champions League go to the Europa League?
to the
I
best of
think
my knowledge, no,
no.
because the Europa League also has the same format, right? So why would you bring the surplus from from the Champions League into the Europa League,
But
where the
that's how it used to be, right? Third positions in
yeah,
Champions
but
League
everything has
always, yeah.
changed now because you don't have the
Oh
group
yeah.
system anymore,
Oh okay.
right? So it is now in this format where it is almost 36 teams competing against themselves. So if Champions League, that's it. Try again next year,
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, no, that makes sense. So
right?
just
And
reading
then
out the
this
table, so we know that at least for a chance to make it to the round of 16, the top 24 teams will have a chance. As of right now, the top eight teams that would qualify directly right now, like get a bye in the first, I'll call it, is it a first round, a little first round, right? Would be Liverpool is top of the whole ranking. Liverpool has a maximum 18 points. Um, Barcelona has 15 points. Second, Arsenal has 13 points, tied with Bayer Leverkusen. All the teams till eighth position have 13 points. So Arsenal, Bayer Leverkusen, Aston Villa, Inter Milan, Brest, Lille from France. So those will be teams right now that will get an automatic bye into the
mhm,
round of 16 if it ended exactly the way it was. I'm going to quickly read down the list till 24 for the teams that would be seeded in that um, knockout round. We have Dortmund 12 points, Bayern Munich 12, Atletico Madrid 12 points, AC Milan 12 points, Atalanta 11 points, Juventus 11 points, Benfica 10 points, Monaco 10 points, Sporting Lisbon 10 points, Feyenoord 10 points, Club Brugge 10 points, Real Madrid 9 points, Celtic 9 points, Manchester City 8 points, and PSV Eindhoven 8 points, and Dynamo Zagreb 8 points. And the notable teams right now that wouldn't even get a chance is PSG is 25th at 7 points. RB Leipzig has been horrible, 0 points in the Champions League, and there are just three 0 points teams: RB Leipzig, Slovan Bratislava, and Young Boys of Switzerland at the moment.
mhm.
So when we look at this table, we're looking at the top eight. I think stand out for me, two teams here that are standing out that are top eight right now is Lille and Brest, both French teams are in the top eight. And then when I look at the teams that are really disappointing, PSG is obviously very disappointing not to be in the top 24. And then you have Real Madrid 20th. That I would say that's disappointing as well. Man City 8 points at 22. So what do you think about the Champions League? How are you looking at this whole format and what's going on with these teams?
Yeah,
We
I
can
think
look,
with
yeah.
yeah with this format, it creates an equalizer for almost everybody to give it a shot, as opposed to how it was in previous years where you play against certain bottom sides in your group. Let's say, for instance, if Young Boys was in Real Madrid's group, you know Real Madrid is going to get automatic 6 points out of them, right? But this newer format just collapses everything into one, and it's like survival of the fittest. So to see teams like Brest and Lille do well, as opposed to PSG, raises eyebrows because for me, of course, the PSG experiment has been a colossal failure, unfortunately. And I think it is just about time that the Qataris just pack their ship and then move somewhere else because they've tried, they've tried, they had some of the best materials available to them, and they were still not able to make the scratch. But then again, this format also exposes teams like Real Madrid, and unfortunately, of course, City have been very poor this season. These two teams, right? Because ordinarily these are teams that you know would qualify, come what may, in the previous format.
Yeah.
You always know Real Madrid doesn't start well, but when it gets to the knockout round, there's this spirit that takes over, and then they find a way to win either way, right? But this format exposes them because they now have to justify why they are worthy of the knockout phase in every game, and not leave it to, oh, I know I'll catch Standard Liège and score them home and away, or I know I'll catch um, Young Boys and score them home and away. So I don't have to be too stressed in the group phase. So just as with everything else.
Yeah, just to your point, usually what happens is if I struggle against the better teams, I'm going to get this third round back home and away 6 points.
Exactly. Exactly. Right. So just as with almost every new thing, there's going to be the pros and
And the
cons.
cons, yeah.
How it has created a flat surface for everybody to compete, and the cons will be the confusion we are all facing with it, and it's just a matter of time. Maybe second, third time that this format will be played out, we'll have a good grasp of it and see how it plays out. But I think the excitement has been there. You are always guaranteed at least two big matches every Champions League week, right?
Mm.
Because
Yes, I have enjoyed that
big sides
actually.
are playing. Yes. So yeah, I don't know. The game is back on, but this is what I think in terms of this new format and how things. I think it will get a little more engaging and take the face of what you've always known it to be in the knockout phase because it's going to be home and away,
Mm.
right? But I feel that the group phase is also nice to see people out who do not take the group stages seriously, and then hope to play the tournament proper when the knockout phase kicks in. In this event, you have to justify your inclusion every single day you play on the Champions League week.
Oh yeah, I think that's interesting to see. It's gonna be the first year, so we're gonna be learning a lot about which teams benefit, how it actually goes. But it's interesting to me how the position that Man City and Real Madrid are in this whole expanded system, and also how well Aston Villa is doing pretty well, but how well Lille and Brest, teams that have picked up big results in the Champions League, right, are also doing in this new format. It's one thing I can say for sure. It has guaranteed us better games in the Champions League every Champions League week, right? There's
Oh,
one,
absolutely.
two really highly anticipated and interesting games in the Champions League. So we're going to get back to the Man City Man U game. Just gonna do a quick restart here. So the game has started again. Man City is leading 1-0. It's about 47, so about 2 minutes into the second half. So we're going to see if there are any adjustments by both teams. So we're going to get into talking about this live stream as we go. While we talk about this live stream, so right now we know it's back. It's 1-0 while we wait for things to actually talk about come up. Let's do a quick Chelsea preview against Brentford. Chelsea has been playing really well recently. There's a whole rumor that Chelsea doesn't want to be called title contenders, but you can't be in the position that you are right now, and people are not talking about it. Chelsea is currently second position in the league at 31 points with 15 games played, and they are yet to play against Brentford, so they can really cover the gap at least by the end of the day. What do you think and what do you expect from Chelsea in this game against Brentford? I think Brentford is a very dangerous team, but what do you think?
Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a tough game. For those watching us on stream, just a very a short bit of history. The last time Chelsea won like 6 games in a row and then lost the 7th one, it was under Thomas Tuchel. And after winning 6 games in a row, the 7th game that we lost was against Brentford, and we lost by 4 goals to 0. No, we didn't understand how that happened, but we lost by 4 goals to 0. And that was on the back of very, very good results coming in. And this Brentford side with Thomas Frank, and then they have the hideous twins as their strikers. That is Wisa and Mbeumo.
Brian Mbeumo and Johan.
Those ones are like typical backless Premier League strikers. Typical.
They look like they prepare and plan and come out and deliver.
Yes. Those two, you give them 10 chances, you are rest assured that they'll convert 7.
No, they're doing a fantastic job.
Given how, again, it's going to be the last game of the week.
I think Southampton also plays at the same time with Tottenham.
Yes. So these are like the 2 last games of the weekend. The last games of the weekend. And for me, the Chelsea defense still leaves a lot to be desired, so I do not trust it as much. What Chelsea has had going for them this season is you score, but they outscore you. That has been their mantra so far. And do I think that is a sustainable thing? No. Right? Because the front line, yes, there seems to be goals within the front line, but you just can't build a team on very shallow defense. And I've maintained this stance ever since the season started, and we did a season preview a couple of months back. So this game is going to be a very, very tough one. I think what would go in favor of Chelsea slightly is that they are playing at home. So if anything at all, the fans have to be as loud as possible and get behind the team. That is on the one hand. On the other hand, one thing I've liked about this Chelsea team is regardless of whatever happens, if you score first, they score back. Right? They as opposed to how things were last season. As soon as you score first, there's no panic. There's still that feeling that they can come back into the game, and they've proven it time and over. Right? In most games, that's from the Arsenal game to Manchester United to Tottenham, you score, they would find a way to come back. Even with some of the poor results they got at Stamford Bridge against Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. Yes, with Crystal Palace, Chelsea scored first. Jackson scored first. But with Nottingham scored first, and Chelsea came back into the game. Or it was the opposite. Either way, it is just to show that the team has a certain character of coming back into games. So it is, as to whether it's going to be a high-scoring game or not, it is one I can't predict with confidence, but I can say that it's going to be both teams to score. Because you can't keep Wesa, the Chelsea's backline can't keep Wesa and Mbeumo quiet. It is not possible.
I am very curious now that you say that to find out which Chelsea players played in the midweek game against Astana.
The only starter in the midweek game is Neto.
Yeah, Neto. So you had Vega, Dewsbury Hall, Chukwuemeka, Gui, Disasi, Adara, Bioyo,
George.
Okay, so only Neto is a possible starter in this game.
And he's likely not going to start because he's on a yellow.
Yeah, probably not.
He won't actually start because he got a yellow 10 seconds after he was to come out from the Tottenham game. So he's missing this game by virtue of the accumulation of cards. And on the flip side, he wouldn't have gone to Astana if he was in contention for starting this game. So Madueke is likely going to be the one to start. And Madueke tends to have this way of being the live wire anytime he starts the game. But the downside to his game is he's not sensible. Right? He's busy for nothing. You can tell that the guy is doing something, but it is just optics. Right? That is the problem I have with Noni Madueke. He gets the ball by just all optics. You see, and with his headband and everything. Sorry, I'm going into this level of detail, but it is So that is the problem I have with Madueke, but he's going to be the person to start in this game, and I think
Yeah,
Sancho will start on the other flank. I am hoping at least Modric will be able to have a shot in this game as well,
yeah.
if he's going to be on the bench. Um, maybe
Okay, so it seems we've lost Daniel for a bit here. So I'm just going to kind of just stand in a little bit on the stream. Okay, so Daniel, I think we're back. Let's see. So this seems to be cutting out. Okay, I can see you now. Okay, cannot hear yet. Technical difficulties. Technical difficulties with connection. While I wait for Daniel to reconnect here, just gonna say a few things here about the Chelsea game. So the interesting thing is in their Conference League game, they didn't play any starters, so basically Neto wouldn't start. So that will be interesting. The lineup isn't out yet. Hello, no, no audio yet. Okay, I can hear you now. Yeah,
can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay. Yeah, so
Yeah,
those were my thoughts on the Chelsea
on
game.
the Chelsea game. Yeah, one thing I like is that in terms of like fatigue, it's not gonna be a big problem for Chelsea here. If not, if you ask me,
Absolutely not.
I would have been on the Brentford side. Thursday games when you play any starters, and I don't think it's just starters. I think it's also just the team traveling. Your head coach traveled, your trainers
Yes.
traveled. You know what I mean? There's just a general
Mm-hmm.
ability for things not to be as, calm and ready, especially for the guys that played on Thursday because that's a quick turnaround in three
Mm-hmm.
days. But Chelsea will have a good chance. One thing I actually agree with you, both teams to score and this to be a high scoring game. I'm going to be looking at that. I think this is going to be a high scoring game because I don't think even with that rest, Chelsea stops Brentford from scoring. But I also think Chelsea would have a good chance to put up some goals here in this game. So that should be interesting as well. So we're going to go back to the Man U game just to catch up with what's happening. It's
Mm-hmm.
currently still 1-0. A lot of the game has still been played. Not a lot of chances created. Man City seems to be getting more corners and putting pressures on the wing. But other than that, this has been a well-controlled game from Manchester City. Man U hasn't
No,
been
but
much of.
United seems to have more of the ball
You think so?
now.
Oh, you mean in the
Yeah, they
second
at
half,
least
right?
for the past. Yeah, they've
In the
been
second.
having the ball, and usually sometimes there's something I tend to conversations I have with
Yeah.
some of my colleagues or friends that
Yeah.
enjoy football. You don't need to have the ball to control the game.
No, that's
Right?
true.
That has been one
That's
of Jose
that's
Mourinho's.
but that's also a narrative Pep Guardiola told us that people think that's how you win a game. I don't believe you have to have the ball to win the game, but go ahead.
No, his philosophy has always been to dominate the ball. That
Yeah,
has been Guardiola's philosophy ever since he came onto the scene, and it has worked for him for all these years. So we
yeah.
can give that to him. But on the flip side, when you have a coach like Mourinho, he's of the strongest opinion that you don't need to have the ball to control the game. You can give the ball to the opponent and still have them where he wants them to be, right? Or you
Without
have them
much
play the game in the way in which you want it to be.
Yeah, because without much threat or danger, just because in my like with the Mourinho sentiment, just because they have the ball doesn't mean that they're a threat, right?
Exactly.
I think that's a real thing. But yeah, the game is going. It's 59 minutes into the game right now. Um, mind you, it's gonna try
Okay, mine is
to
57.
yeah.
2 hours,
So
2 minutes behind.
2 minutes behind. I'm actually a little bit faster here on football and stuff. But um, yeah, but even the live stream on YouTube is about 10 seconds delay to so that they can catch
Hmm.
community guidelines and stuff like that. So yes, that game is going. I think right now the game is a kind of just moving along. Any thoughts? Any thoughts in the soccer, football space? Like what? Anything? Did you watch the game between Atalanta and Real Madrid? I don't know if you caught those highlights. Where, in my
No,
opinion,
I did.
The future of
I
Real Madrid showed up.
I watched the game. I think it was just classic Madrid.
Mm.
Um, Madrid for ever since Ancelotti came back, or even if I want to stretch it a little, I stretch it a little more to maybe to Zidane's time. You play against Madrid and then you have the impression that you have a shot at winning against them. It has it has
the
always been the case.
the late goals, the
You always have that impression because you can just clearly tell that Madrid will not dominate you to the point where you're like, I have been ruthlessly beaten. No, right? But the thing about Madrid too is they just have that chip on their shoulder because this is their tournament,
yeah.
right? So it just comes with the mindsets they come into these kinds of games. They come into these kinds of games. So I think sometimes the opponents give them too much respect, and that's what Atlanta did. Atalanta
Mm.
did. They gave Madrid too much respect. They gave them too much respect, and then it was very evident in the results, right? But I feel, of course, to, inarguably one of the best players or one of the most informed players currently in the world. Ademola Lookman was up on his game. To be on the losing side and to win the man of the match is no mean feat. It just goes to show how impactful he was in the game, from taking on players to creating chances to scoring. Um, he did everything that there was to do because he's been the club's lifeline for I think the past 2 to 3 seasons. Right. So it was a good game. I was happy Mbappe scored. Very classic Mbappe goal. Beautiful goal. All the three boys came to the party. Mbappe, Bellingham, Vinicius. They did what had to be done. They closed the deal. They needed the win because of their standing in the league table. They got the win, and then that's classic Madrid.
Would you consider those three guys the future of Madrid right now for the next 5 years, or you think Vinicius might leave, or how?
Vinicius is not leaving to go anywhere.
It's gonna be interesting though because I think the Vinicius Mbappe story is gonna play out. Um, Mba- will Mbappe accept not playing his favorite position from the left? At what point does it become a conversation we have? It's fun to say they're two quality players and they can get along, but at what point does Mbappe say, I want to go dominate where I'm very comfortable, and we all know that's where Vinicius is also pretty good. Would that become a conversation within the next couple of years? It's actually something that I'm thinking. I'm like, those guys are so good, coming off from the left side. Um, is At what point is Mbappe looking that I want to be on that left side? Bellingham is probably not a center forward. He's a 10, probably. So that might be a lockdown position for him. But the Mbappe Vinicius conversation on that left hand side, is someone going to go play the right? Or will Mbappe be able to be a center forward and be happy being a center forward where I think he would be probably more inconsistent than not? So, waiting for Daniel to get back here. Also, gonna point out, as he was saying with Real Madrid, they played 3-3 yesterday against Rayo Vallecano. The thing is, Real Madrid is going to give you a chance to score goals. They're going to give you a chance to be in the game. Rayo also took advantage of that, scored 3 goals in that game, and stayed pretty close to Madrid. So I'm going to wait for Daniel to reconnect here. Technical issues, but the stream is going. I'm excited about it. Manchester United had a good chance not long ago, with a header, that didn't, actually go in. So on here right now, it's the 63rd minute, of the game, and the game is still 1-0. I thought for a second Man City controlled possession a little bit, but not really, problematic to Manchester United. Man U actually got a chance not too long after that. So this game right now is going to see if Manchester United can put some pressure on Manchester City. No, important game to the guys in Manchester, bragging rights, um, for two really proud organizations at the moment. One historically longer success, and no success in recent years, in my opinion, and the other a lot of success in recent years historically behind the other Manchester team. I'm talking about City um, currently, and then Manchester United with Sir Alex Ferguson. So we're still going to be monitoring that game. I'm going to be waiting for Daniel to come back in here while I take a look at this game, and we have about 30 minutes, give or take, before the game is over. I want to appreciate everybody that's on the live stream. There are about 7 people constantly on this live stream right now. So I want to appreciate whoever actually is on here. You can be watching the game, that's fine, as long as you're on here supporting the channel. I appreciate it. Daniel, can't get an audio right now, but I can see the video. Yeah. Yeah, so no audio at the moment now. Yeah, still going through that difficulty. So yeah, so we're just gonna watch the game here together. So I see Pep Guardiola is preparing a change for Mateo Kovacic. Gonna be interesting to see which player comes off for Kovacic. Probably trying to get um, some balance in the game with Kovacic on here for the game. So we're gonna see if yeah, I think I got audio now. Yeah,
City, can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was just wrapping up your Madrid conversation. Basically, just noting that they drew 3-3 yesterday against Rayo Vallecano. They will usually give teams a chance to be in the game, right? Most often than not for that. So, yeah, we're going to get back into the game. I was just looking at the game. I don't know if you saw the chance that Manchester United had with the header not too long ago. That might be the best chance they've had in this second half um,
Mm-hmm.
as well. So yeah, so the game is going. Mateo Kovacic comes in for Kevin De Bruyne. Um, Hopefully that's more of a tactical move. Um,
Oh,
it's
I
going to
don't
take
know.
a
On
little
my
bit.
end, De Bruyne is still playing.
Yeah, he's still playing, but you can see Pep is preparing Mateo Kovacic. That would be for um, a change for De Bruyne soon
Okay.
in that game. So we'll see how that tactical move. What would you say about that tactical move in general, like Kovacic for De Bruyne?
No, I think this reemphasizes my point. Given where City finds itself in terms of this part to be conservative in certain is one of them,
Mm,
where I feel Kovacic offers you a player that can help you win the midfield battle, but that is the opposite for Kevin De Bruyne. Kevin De Bruyne is fully on the front foot, and then you can't expect as much from him in terms of holding it down in the midfield. And with how the second half has been going so far, City seems to be losing the midfield battle because Manchester is having more of the ball. So it makes more sense if he would choose to go on the pragmatic side of things, try to seal things in the middle, right, and then see how best they can see the game out, even if it's just by 1 goal to 0. Because as I've said, even in previous times when City had trailblazing form, they still struggle against Manchester United in certain instances. So if you have them at this point and then you have a goal to your name, and then given how you've been struggling at least with City to secure wins, they'll take this. And Kovacic, the change of De Bruyne for Kovacic is just an impression to me that he wants to seal things in the middle as soon as possible, and then at least make sure the midfield battle is either 50-50 or they can win it back. Because Kovacic is quite good at recovery in terms of box to box and then even playing as a standing six in these kinds of instances.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think this is just a control the game kind of substitution, right? Like just let's get a let's get a control of the game. Like as I said, I think this is gonna be a low scoring game. I think Man City is very happy here to go away with a 1-0 um,
Absolutely.
win. It's the kind of game, in my opinion, that you look at your schedule and you're like, we're gonna dig in and try to get a result. It doesn't need to be um, impressive or big or great or something like that. Okay, so I think the game is basically right now in midfield a bit. So we're just going to talk about some other teams and how they're doing. Let's talk about Arsenal for a minute. Um, so Arsenal yesterday
Mm-hmm.
drew 0-0 with Everton at home in what many would consider a not very impressive performance against an Everton team, in my opinion, that's not very good, right? So yeah, I'm just waiting for Daniel to come back here. But the Everton team would be considered a very good team over the course of the season. They just collected or considered um, 4 goals to
So can you hear
nil.
me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, not long ago, and so yeah, Arsenal currently is third position. They've played 16 games and they're 6 points behind Liverpool and 1 point behind Chelsea. And Chelsea has played 15 games and Liverpool has played 15 um, as well. So if we look at this, that was a position for them to get 3 points and kind of stay within touch of the top of the league. What would you say about Arsenal's performance against Everton? And I would say at home as well, yesterday,
Mhm.
Saturday, December 14th.
No, I think how the game turned out, to me, I'm surprised people are surprised. Um,
Yeah.
Arsenal in the league hasn't been as good. They've been very, very poor in terms of scoring goals out like in open play. Everybody, it looks like everybody apart from Mikel Arteta doesn't.
Sorry about that. Still having technical issues, but once Daniel comes back, we're still going to finish up with that. Arsenal analysis. I'm going to go back here to the Manchester City Man U game. Still currently 1-0 in favor of Manchester City. I'm just going to look here. There's been a couple of substitutions. There was one earlier in the game when missing Mount had to leave the game early on for Kobe Maino as well in that game. So that will be the one substitution for Manchester United. And for Man City, just updating that Mateo Kovacic is now in the game for Kevin De Bruyne. Is 72 minutes into the game. So about 18 minutes in this game, plus extra time and injury time, and whatever else additional time is added for this game. I'm just gonna quickly go through the lineups again. Right now, Manchester City is playing a 4-1-4. That formation might have changed with Mateo Kovacic coming in. I would say this formation is more like a 4-2-3-1 formation with Nunes at the left back position, Vadiol and Ruben Diaz center backs. And the goal actually by Man City was scored by um, Vadiol, an excellent header by Vadiol in that game. And then you have Kyle Walker playing right back. Gundogan and Mateo Kovacic will probably be man in the middle, and you have Doku, Foden, Bernardo Silva in the attacking positions, and then Erling Haaland leading the attack for Manchester United. So I think Daniel is back. Can you say something just to make sure we can hear
Can you
you?
hear me,
Yeah,
City?
absolutely. Yeah, so you can go back. You were talking
Can
about
you
us. Yeah, I
hear
can
me?
hear you. Yeah, yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think with the Arsenal game again, you can't go into a season makes no sense, right? The front line doesn't have enough goals in them, and if numbers, and that is what has pushed them, but it is not sustainable. That is the problem. And if you have built the team to a point where you resort to set pieces to win games, then you're not ready to do business, right? Because that is the mindset of a mid-table team like Stoke City,
You remember the
where you
days
play,
of
play, 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 play,
what
play, play.
Delap, right? That throws the long throw
Rory
about
Delap,
Rory
Rory
Delap,
Delap,
yeah.
yeah, throws the ball in. Whatever happens in the box, the commotion that happens there, we don't care about the score. Right? So yesterday, I was just like on Twitter, people were like, "You have gone to meet the I want to use the best word for this man, the main apprentice of haram football, Sean Dyke, Bruno Fernandes."
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, ooh.
Wow, right? It's like I'm going to meet the main apprentice of haram football, which is Sean Dyke, and I'm going to go and play haram with him. No, it doesn't work that way. You don't meet haram with haram. There's levels of haram, right? This man is called the Ginger Mourinho for a reason, the Red Mourinho for a reason. Haram football personified from his days at Burnley.
Bonnie, yeah.
Yes, he even coached one team before he came to our team, right? So if and Nicolas Jova, you are trying to use your best to no, you see, this is the problem I tend to have with these kinds of coaches. You try something once, twice, three times, you should know it be figured out. It won't work almost every time. It becomes at this point because people we've now seen what you do with your corners or set pieces. So any team is about to play against you, don't train against it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But again, the senselessness of this Arsenal team always on display. And it's like the coach let her barely learn. The project that they claim to have is 5 years in maturation. He has to win something in addition to the COVID FA Cup he won against Frank Lampard.
Are
He
they are,
has
are they depending too much on set piece goals instead of going back to the way they used to work their goals with Kai Havertz and Leandro Trossard, a little bit of like the connecting football a little bit. Are they depending too much on set pieces now for goals and maybe not working enough on their interconnected play?
this is how things are looking like. Um, at least past 10 games, you can tell there's a trend where everything has to come through a set piece or through a corner. And this is how Saka has been able to rack up like 9 assists,
And it seems to be the only
right?
thing that gets them excited. They are so excited to score those set piece goals.
Right? This is where, because usually if the standard drops to that, the fans tag along. And to the fans, they feel like when anybody that mentions this to them, you are hitting from outside because your team can't do it.
Yeah,
But you're also trying to let them know, right, that it's not sustainable because what you are doing is just a matter of time. Coaches will train against it.
yeah, yeah.
So when it works once, twice, you alter it a little just so it is out of our minds, and then you try it again next time, right? So this way, it is still a tool in your arsenal, but it shouldn't be the only tool. Otherwise, you become stale, and that's what is happening to them currently,
Yeah.
right? When they played against the Champions League game, they played against this French side. They played against one French side
Monaco.
like that
Monaco.
against Monaco,
Yeah.
right? They won by 3 goals to 0, all goals in open play. No, one of them, two of them were in open play,
Oh,
but you could clearly tell
that's why the interview with Bukayo Saka, he was busy defending the fact that they still know how to play regular football.
in
Yeah, go
open play,
ahead. Yeah, in open play. Yeah.
right? But outside of the 2 goals they scored, you could clearly tell the Monaco team was extremely poor, and that on the side, all their Premier League games,
Yes, technical difficulties again. So gonna try to step in here. So this Man City Man United game, there was an interesting play on the right wing there where Jeremy Doku wants to embarrass somebody on the Manchester United defense. So gonna wait for Daniel to get back to that. We're just gonna still be discussing Arsenal here in a bit. I'm just gonna update what's happening here in the Manchester United versus um, Manchester United versus Manchester City. Basically, actually, Man City is at home in that game. There were a couple of substitutions while we were going through the game. Jeremy Doku was taken off the game off for Jack Grealish, and for Manchester United, there were few substitutions that happened. Nazar Mazraoui was taken out for Anthony, and Rasmus Højlund taken out for Joshua Zirkzee in that game. So um, four substitutions currently for Manchester United. Also, Matisse de Ligt was taken off the game for Lenny Euro defensively. So trying to freshen up this team, probably have a late. I think Ahmad has been pretty good in this game on that right side. And when I look at the lineup here, Ahmad has been having a really good game in my opinion, and he's going up against Kyle Walker on the right side for that. So yeah, I think Daniel is back. Hello, Daniel. I can't hear anything. Are you saying? Is it? So while we get that, I can. The audio is good now, but no video. Yes, sorry guys, technical difficulties. So if you can hear all that going on, it's all right. Trying to get this whole live stream thing sorted out. Get the quality to where this live streams have little issues. Yeah, but it's the first one on this channel. I'm excited about it. We're almost at 2 hours of this live stream. There's about 10 minutes to go in the game, so we should get to 2 hours for the live stream and for the full game. See if Manchester United can actually come in here and get a draw in this game, or Manchester City basically shuts the door and ends the game in general. I know we're talking about Arsenal. Yeah, there's a part that I think now they might be depending too much on those set pieces. Yes, they're really good at it, but they need to get back to creating chances as well. So 81 minutes in the Man City game. It's still 1-0. Vardiol with the only goal. Just waiting, Daniel. Can you say something? Let me know if I can hear you. No, not yet. Okay, so we're gonna try to still get that back on here. So let me see. Let me make sure it's not muted. So yeah, still watching the game here. Keeping this interesting. Okay. Yeah, so still struggling with that connection, but I'm gonna keep trying till the end of this stream to get that going. These live streams are not as easy as it seems to make sure these connections are all good. But yeah, 83rd minute, this is getting interesting. Ahmad with a header from a cross from Lisandro Martinez. Actually, that's not Ahmad. I'm giving the wrong person credit for that header. That was Kobe Maino with the header in the 83rd minute for Manchester United. That was over the bar. So still waiting for some action in this game. These two teams, we all know, plays a lot of interesting games. Two games I can think of right now. They say moments make games, right? It's actually interesting. The Wayne Rooney overhead kick and the Michael Owen last minute. I think the 4-3 game winner in additional time for Manchester United. There's been a lot of Manchester derby memorable moments for different people in different situations. So yes, so 84th minute, Man City has a corner kick. So this will be interesting to see how that goes. I'm just gonna go a quick look here at top soccer scores for today, December. Today, December 15, Sunday, December 15, 2024. Yeah, upcoming Chelsea, Brentford, and Southampton at home versus Tottenham. Those are interesting games. What has ended today? Around sports leagues, Stuttgart went away from home, beat Heidenheim in the Bundesliga. Fiorentina lost 1-0 away from home to Bologna. And that's interesting. Okay, so that's the update. Still watching the Super Sunday big game. Josko or Hosko. Would that be Josko or Hosko? Not sure. Croatians probably will be the ones to assist me with that. Vadiol with a 36-minute header to give Manchester City the lead in this game. So, yes, we're getting to the final minutes. As I said, Ahmad is playing really well. Was that a penalty shout from a tackle here in the box? Let's see. That's actually interesting development in this game. Uh, hmm. Ahmad has been really impressive, in my opinion, from what the little snippets that I see. That was a very dangerous tackle in the box. And I think that has that been given as a penalty? That's interesting to see because I think this game in general, Man City has not earned a win in this game. Man U has played a decent amount of. Okay, so we have a penalty, and I think captain Bruno Fernandes for Manchester United will be lacing up his boots and getting ready, standing over. According to what I see here, last five penalties for Fernandes. He scored all last five penalties, so this will be a big moment for Manchester United fans. Not having a chance here not to lose the game. See, so this is a pressure moment. I'm going to be doing some commentary, so it's exciting. So if you're behind or in this game or not, or you're watching it, so I'm kind of looking at this now. Fernandez prepares, takes a deep breath, puts the ball down. You got Ederson trying to make a big save for Manchester City, and there's a run up for Fernandez. Excellent goal from Bruno Fernandes with the celebration on there. So that would be 1-1 in the Manchester Super Sunday um, big game in the English Premier League. So the game is currently tied at one apiece for Man City and Manchester United. It's a draw. Like I would say that's a fair result at this time of the game. Somebody has to come up big to win the game for either team, but I would say it's a fair result for the performances of both teams today. Right now that the game is tied 1-1, and the goal by the captain. I would say yes, the captain for Manchester United, Bruno Fernandes, with the equalizer. I got to do some commentary there. That was fun. Welcome back, Daniel.
Thank you.
I hope you have seen the fact that we are not tied at 1-1 because I gotta spoil that for you.
No, I just saw the penalty and Matthias Nunes as usual, as I said.
I was gonna say like that was an unnecessary tackle, but also I have to point out I've been so impressed with Ahmad's performance today. I guess I've been saying it throughout the live stream. He's been doing a really good job on that wing. Yeah.
Even when Ten Hag was around, I don't know why.
It's kind of breaking up. Just okay. Yeah, now you can go ahead. Let me see. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. So if you just, I think for some reason, if the audio is very fast, it kind of breaks up a little bit. But go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was just saying, Ahmad is actually a very good player. When he went on loan,
I'm sorry, bro. You're gonna see it.
Is it red or
This
blue?
live stream has been fire, guys. This live stream has been fired. That's why we need to be doing this watch alongs because it's been straight up fire. And I'm just blabbing around so that you get to see it so I don't spoil it for you. But
is it red or
if
blue?
You're watching this with us, you have actually been at the right place. The analysis, the commentary, the vision, the forecast, everything has been straight on fire on this live stream. I know you want to do this all on your own,
I,
but I'm just
I,
waiting for Daniel to see. Anyway, guys, we're still having those technical issues. So since Daniel is not necessarily here, I'm going to spoil it. I was trying to allow him to catch up with that, but I was saying it that I've mentioned it all this through this live stream about how spectacular, um, in my opinion, that okay, that was a very good pass. And I remember there was a pass from Lisandro Martinez to Ahmad earlier. Not Ahmad, could be Merino actually, but this time you got Lisandro Martinez giving an excellent pass, and Ahmad doing. He's been fantastic. I'm so glad that he is the star of the game and came up with this second goal, guys. So we have two goals right now. Manchester United with a quick turnaround. It's 8-minute penalty by Bruno Fernandes. 90th minute goal by Ahmad. And I can tell you guys that Ahmad won that penalty off of Matheus Kunes. He has been the absolute star of today's game in the Manchester derby. And that's how you announce yourself, young man, to the world. Is you come on the big stage, you come on Super Sunday, you come on Manchester derby, and you put on the kind of performance you did today. Ahmad with a 2-1 or the second goal for Manchester United, and maybe the game winner as well. And nobody in this game deserves to have this level of performance in this game more than Ahmad. It has been an absolutely terrific performance, terrific goal for him as well. And guys, this comes back to my argument of why I really think Pep Guardiola is horrible. I can use superlative words, I can use exaggerated words, I can say it however I want because I actually think Pep Guardiola is that bad as a manager. 1-0 up at home against a new manager, against your rivals, in city rivals, and you were up 1-0, controlling the game, and now you're down 2-0. Guys, that's poor management from Pep Guardiola. There's absolutely no reason you should be down in this game. But I think it's actually showing up pretty clearly that, like in the video in this channel, that in my opinion, when I look at the resume of Pep Guardiola, and I know I'm being exaggerative or whatever, but his managerial resume is absolute trash, in my opinion. And trash is basically relative because I'm comparing it to the top managers in the world. But this is my point. I am not a Man United guy. Um, Logically, you would think this would be easier for Man City to do, but it's nothing logical when you suck as a manager. And yes, we have to hold the players for Man City accountable as well. They've been horrible. Um, I wouldn't say horrible, but that was a really poor performance in the last 10 minutes of the game. And I don't think this is new. We saw in the Champions League where they were leading 3-0 not too long ago. And they ended up drawing that game 3-3. This team has been in always recently not able to finish out games at all. So that should be interesting. We are winding down to the final 3 minutes of the game here on the Super Sunday, December 15, 2024 live stream following the Manchester City versus Manchester United game here on the TT Dice Sports channel on YouTube. So for this live stream, it's only on YouTube, but I'm glad um, I know the technical issues have been there for this live stream. We're going to try to sort that out. It's part of what happens when you do things live, but I'm actually very appreciative of the engagement here with Daniel and kind of watching this together. So this has been fun. And it's not just fun, it has also been a memorable game as well. I'm going to remember this game as the game Ahmad came into the limelight. I am really happy for Ahmad in this game. I'm actually absolutely excited for him in this game. I don't know. Sound is still down. Yes, we're still working on that. Hopefully, get that audio going here. So 3 minutes to go in this game. Manchester United is trying to get a big victory to boost their confidence. This would really help a new manager in Ruben Amorim get his confidence up as well if they can actually hold on to this 2-1. There's about a minute to go in this game. It's been a fantastic Manchester derby in the English Premier League. First live show on the City Dive Sports channel. I'm excited about it. And we'll remember this live show and live stream as the coming out game for Ahmad. Um, Won a penalty off of Matheus. Is it Matheus Nunes, right? Off of Matheus Nunes that allowed Fernandez to tie the game at 1-1 in the 88th minute on the penalty. And then what a fantastic finish. What fantastic control and finish for Ahmad to give Manchester United a 2-1. I want to say victory. We have a minute to go. Come on. Guys, Manchester United, close this out. Let's just summarize this game. Joshua Zexi with the ball, trying to close out the game, just running out the clock here. So we got less than a minute to go in this game, and we're just waiting for the referee to basically spare all up. Yes. So this game is over. Manchester United has gone in, won Manchester City at home. Manchester City's home at the Etihad, 2-1. And Manchester United can say they won the derby this time. That's a good result for a new manager, for confidence for a new manager. So that game is over. Exciting stuff. Incredible finish. What a way to end this watch along. Just waiting. Hopefully I can get Daniel back on here to wrap up this live stream. We're going to try. Right? One thing we're going to do is we're going to try. But yes, game over there. Incredible performance for Ahmad, I would say once again. So game is over. I'm going to wait here for a little minute, see if Daniel can get back on the screen, get back on here for final words. Just to wrap this up. But yes, it's been a fantastic game, guys. 2-1 Manchester United beating Manchester City in the Man U derby. So yeah, we're almost done with the live stream, so that's interesting on here. We're gonna be ending this soon. We're gonna be ending this soon. If you stopped by, um, hello Daniel.
It's easy.
I would love to get your reaction while I wind down the live stream, bro.
Right? Because it's still playing on my end.
But let us, we have wound it down. Man U has head on. Man U has head on for the victory.
Okay, it has ended on my end. No, I think again, as I mentioned from get go, this is a typical Manchester United Man City derby. You don't the kind of entertainment you are looking for, you won't get. But Manchester always has a way of getting the results, right? The same thing even happens with Manchester and Chelsea. No matter how bad Manchester's form is, when they play against Chelsea, it's always boring, right? It leads to a stalemate, maybe apart from the fourth year that happened at Stamford
You
Bridge.
mean Manchester United or Manchester City?
Yes, Man United. No matter how poor their form is, when they meet Chelsea, it is a different ball game, right? So Manchester has this way of, regardless of the big team they are playing against, and in many instances, Man City, they find a way to grind out a win. It has happened time and time and over again. The game would be extremely boring. You won't want to watch it, but they always find a way to win, right? So I'm not surprised with the result. Again, Ahmad, I think he deserves this spotlight that he's getting, because I don't know what Ten Hag had against him, but it was very clear. And I think that was the same issue Sancho and Ronaldo had with Ten Hag, that he was very inflexible with the people he saw as his core team. Anybody else that does better on the training field, he doesn't care. He still has his core team that he wants to use, right? And Ahmad, fantastic talent because I watched a couple of his games. Believe me or not, in the championship when he was playing for Sunderland on loan, and the guy is very very good. And I had extra vested interest because he's from Cote d'Ivoire,
Yep.
right? And where there are African players, I tend to have more vested interest because I want to see them do well. In the history of Manchester United, they barely have, and then Fortune, this Fortune guy.
Fortune, the guy that used to have like white hair or something.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
there
I used
was
to.
Fortune, there was Jamba Jamba, there was Baby.
The
Baby
great
was a
Jamba
mistake
Jamba of
signing,
Cameroon.
right?
The great Jamba Jamba.
Manchester is not a club that is known to have a history with African players.
Yeah.
So when they have African players that seem to be doing well, I want them to do well, even though, of course, I am not a big fan of the club. But I like to see it when African talents are thriving on the biggest stages. And that is what is happening for Ahmad. He has been the biggest lifeline, even ever since Amorim came into the team. He's been the one that looks like he's cut out for Amorim's formation because he favors him very well. And on the ball, he's a threat. You don't you blink twice, you miss him, and when you miss him, it's going to cause danger to you, right? And
He
this is what
dominated.
has
Yeah.
manifested in this game. He's Manchester United's lifeline, and I am glad this game has thrusted him to the forefront, right? And then people would be looking at him with a different lens from now going forward because he's a very good player. He's a very, 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 very good player, and Amorim Amorim's formation suits him perfectly. I think what we are seeing at this point is what happened between Victor Moses and Antonio Conte when Conte first came to Chelsea, where there was a resurgence of certain players, certain quote unquote French players,
Yeah.
right? Like Victor Moses, who became a key part of Antonio Conte's three-back
Yeah.
formation because it gave him room to go back and forth,
Yeah, in a
right?
role
And then
that
he
he
had
was
some
very comfortable with from his previous team. Yeah.
exactly, and he had some trickery in him as well, right? So with the trickery, it's they're just cut out the same way. Ahmad has a lot of trickery in him. He has an eye for pass. He is fast when he wants to
Yeah.
be, right? He knows when to, just like with how he got the penalty.
Oh
He
yeah.
baited
The
Matthias
cutbacks.
Nunez easily.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, he baited him very, very easily, and he foolishly fell for the bait,
Yep.
right? So with players of this ilk, having them in such a formation for them is like a field day for them because they're going to enjoy themselves going back and forth. So I'm happy for Ahmad. I it is interesting to see the crumble of City right before our eyes.
Yeah.
Um, at least I want Chelsea, even though Chelsea is trying to say they're not in the title race. For me, for me, we are in the title race, and the further City is away from the top position, I am confident we can do something because I still have the fear. You see, for a team to have dominated for over 10 years, you always have the fear that they'll always come back. Right? I still have the fear that
Uh,
City would pick it up and then come back again.
Me, I have little to no fear that City will come back. I
No,
have little concern.
no.
Very little.
On the one hand,
Even if they brought
everybody.
all their best players back, I
No,
don't
that's what
think
I'm
that
saying.
they.
On the one hand, this looks like yes, the league is finally going to go to someone else this time on a fifth year running,
Yeah.
right? But again, for someone that has done this 4 years on a row, you can give them that benefit of the doubt,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. I think
Yeah.
last year's performance to win the league, in my opinion, was very impressive because I thought genuinely Arsenal gave them a run for their money. Arsenal kept them on their heels. There was no game they could lose,
No,
like from
but
January.
the Arsenal lost the league by themselves.
I get it, but I mean the fact that Man City held on and
No,
couldn't make any mistakes, right?
of course.
Yeah, so
City is just like Real Madrid. They give you the room to play, take the opportunity, and then run with it. They'll come back for it because it's like you don't know what you're doing with the top position, so get out of there, right? Because that is what I'm seeing here. Or in previous seasons, they have a way of switching the gear from January onwards, where they go on one mad run winning like
Yeah, that January stretch. I usually used to think that what helps them in that January stretch used to be depth. They had this ability. They we used to
the
call it
squad depth.
the pep roulette. But the pep roulette was because he could spin the wheel and get something nice coming from the bench. You know what
Mhm.
I mean? To get it
That is true.
going. Yeah,
No, and I
but
think on the other hand, too, the squad is aging. They are losing their legs.
oh yeah,
The intensity
facts.
with which they used to play, they can't play because the spine has always been the same.
Yeah,
Of course, company is not there anymore, but maybe I can use Walker
yeah.
as part of like the
Walker,
back line that has
Diaz,
been there,
Diaz,
right?
Laporte.
So
Laporte was a spine for them for a stretch.
right.
Yeah,
So if you are looking at the spine now stretches from Edison to let me say Walker, and then you have De Bruyne in the middle.
yeah.
Of course, Rodri is not around, and then you have Haaland at the
I,
top.
I, I think the players they are counting on now hasn't proven
Haaland
anything
do
to
know
us.
can't do anything without the
Haaland,
services of
even
like
Phil Foden. Phil Foden is supposed to be this great player,
he's
but he
right.
hasn't done it over a long time for us to be confident.
No, Foden is a typical. My father bought me the ball. If you don't let me play, I'll take my ball away.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, nah, Foden hasn't shown me anything.
He is like a player that has been created in the lab by Pep,
Yeah,
right? So now that these things are not going well for Pep, it affects him directly because he is like
a
a baby
product of the
that is
system.
connected. Yes, a baby that is connected to the mother through the umbilical cord. You cut it, that is it. The baby can't do anything because the mother is not there anymore. You see Foden in other scenarios, especially in the English team.
A fish out of water.
He's just kicking his legs in the air because he doesn't know what he's doing. He's a player that has to be literally like a game controller, showed what to do,
And do it
right? So
exactly
he
that way.
exactly. So he's cut out of a lab in a sense, compared to his compatriots like Saka and Palmer, who are playing to the best of their ability because this is what their natural talents can push them to. Foden has the talent. He's a fantastic player by all standards, right? But he needs to be positioned in a certain way for you to see the best out of him, which is not the case for the other two,
Those
right?
two
So
has made something out of tough situations. Saka has
absolutely,
played through different Arsenal compositions like styles.
absolutely.
Cole Palmer came from Man City, showed himself, and now in the system in Chelsea, played like 2 or 3 different roles at Chelsea. Phil Foden would need to invent himself or reinvent himself, basically.
And the reinvention has to happen with a different manager,
Oh no, yeah, I don't think he can do it. It's so bad right now with the performances that he puts
right?
up
He
at the
can't
moment.
do the reinvention with Pep at the helm. It has to be a different manager. And as to whether he will be motivated enough
That's what we
to go
cannot
that route
tell.
to is another thing because he's won everything that there is to win,
Yeah.
right? So the motivation to do more would have to come from a deeper side of him. And for a player like that, that is why I respect a player like Julian Alvarez, who felt like, no, there's a lot more in my belly than to be a part of a super team where
Yep.
I'll be coming off the bench or I'll be deputizing someone that is equally as young as I am. Because for how long am I going to be on the bench for Haaland?
Haaland. Because Haaland is not going anywhere. 5 years
No,
from now, he's not going anywhere.
no,
There's no path to growth when you have Haaland.
exactly.
And that's why I think Cole Palmer left as well.
I rate
In
players
Pep's
like that.
system, yeah, in Pep's system, there's no path to grow
Mm-mm,
really when you have Foden or you
mm-mm.
must play because Cole Palmer has more to his game. Pep Guardiola
A lot more.
does not allow you to show more to your game
He won't if he was in City by this time, he won't be allowed to play the way he's playing with
at
freedom.
at all. Not even a chance.
Right? Because the system is quite rigid. You have to fit into it. Pep wants to teach you how to play football.
He
Right?
wants to
And that
show
is
you
how
how
come,
to dominate the ball. Yeah.
unfortunately, that is where the extra talented players, it is like those players go to die at his altar, from the likes of Grealish to Doku to
Yeah.
Savinho, because Savinho in Girona last season was madness. This time around, he takes the ball, he's playing like Grealish. He takes the ball, drives to the right, stops, takes it back, tries to go back again to the same place that is crowded. And I'm like, don't you people have a mind of your own? And I can understand. Pep at Barcelona, he was now trying to figure out himself. So there was no way he was going to restrict players like Iniesta and Messi in terms of their trickery and then playing the ball to their taste.
But I
Right?
also think he adjusted to what those guys do best, and he now thinks everybody can be Iniesta, Javi. And in my opinion, and I'm going to give this little take, I think it's a little bit of the fraud mentality in Pep's head, because he comes into Barca, he takes Barca's A team, B team, whatever. That team had already started playing tiki-taka football before he became the coach there. There had already been a culture from their youth system that brought out Javi and Iniesta for the style of ball they were playing. He
Mm-hmm.
came, he learns how to do it, and the fraud in him wants to take credit for something he did not build. He comes in, he does it, and he wants to now go and tell everybody, like, I've created this style of football. He didn't create that La Masia academy football of passing the ball around that brought Javi. He didn't create it. Johan Cruyff, Frank Rijkaard, these
No,
guys have been building
but
on
no, no,
this.
no, City. When it comes to the Barcelona DNA, it has always traced back to Johan Cruyff. They always credit him for being the one that changed the face of how the club was run from the youth
Do,
level to the top.
do you
And
think
Pep
people
mentions it every time.
mention Johan Cruyff?
Then you don't follow Barcelona.
No, I do, but there are so many people that have the platforms now. They don't credit Johan Cruyff with that style of play.
No, again, because it takes a certain level of research to dig as far back as to where the source of the style stems from, right? But Cruyff has always been given the credit for being the one that built this kind's DNA, and then ensuring that the La Masia was set up in a certain way. Coaches that came subsequently took it to a different level, right? And then Pep just shattered the ceiling with it. It doesn't mean, because for me, I'll take offense if people want to take away from Pep's hard work and what he did with that team,
No, no,
right?
I'm not taking away from Pep's hard work. I give him credit for his hard work. See, the thing with fraud or stuff like that, when I use that word, is people assume that fraudulent people don't put in work. I think it's important that we, even when we talk about illegal activities in the world, there's an assumption that those people don't put in work. That's not the point. I get hard work. That's not my point. But it's about changing of narratives. Is the subtle adjustment of what you're trying to do, right? And the possibility or what it takes to do stuff like that. There's nothing amazing about having a vision and everything that you need to get it done, and everybody bows at your throne when you have the vision. That, to me, that at least that's what I think, right? But if it's the hard work, I'm not coming here. Come on, like, is it Pep? But even when we compare him to other managers, it's also an insult to those managers if you think Pep works harder than any of them. So I'm not really talking about work. I'm talking about what the narrative about what makes him great. I'm like, if we want to talk about this is style of ball, he didn't really create it. See the way we go back to Johan Cruyff. I can say this guy had a vision. It wasn't popular, right? And he started
Mm-hmm.
it. Most times, people that start things don't finish it because people don't get on board with it by the time people have limited time that they can do work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. As you said, he maybe took it to the next level. He got people that can fund his dreams, and that's all great and good with Pep. But the point I was trying to make then is that Pep picked up this system. He learned it. I have no problem with that, and he took it to a level that he can build it and create it. But the thing with that system is that system needs, just like most things, it needs a specific set of skills. Like,
Mm-hmm.
very specific set of skills. You need to
Mm-hmm.
go find your David Silvers in the world. You need to go
Mm-hmm.
find your Javis and Iniestas. You know what I mean? It needs your Kevin De Bruyne's that can make it work for you. But I think this is interesting. What I'm curious in is, I'm actually disappointed that I'm not disappointed because I would say it drives my own narrative, right? So I wouldn't say I'm disappointed, but I'm actually, even when I drive this narrative, I actually think it's surprising to me that he lost this game to Manchester United. Like, in a way, I'm like there are very few reasons I can think of here why he should lose to Manchester United.
No, that's what I'm saying. Maybe you haven't noticed the trend. But if you have
I
to
am
look,
noticing. Is it also shocking me that it is this bad?
not as in City losing to Manchester United.
Yeah, I mean the stretch that City is on right now and also losing to Manchester United. Yeah.
No, the stretch they are on at the moment is unfamiliar territory for him, Pep Guardiola
Even
himself.
for me, even for me, maybe I've not seen him do this. Even for
Right?
me, it's unfamiliar territory.
It's very unfamiliar, and this is what being a successful manager sometimes blinds us, because success can be blinding, right? Seeing a coach of Pep's caliber having this poor run of form, we haven't seen it before in almost his 10 to 15 years of top flight management. So in instances like this, I'm sure he's just as confused as almost all of us are as to how to remedy the situation, because what he's used to and what has worked. Because if you have a template that has worked, you don't change a winning team, so to speak. And he's always had a template where if a poor result comes in 1-2, he tweaks one or two things and then he's back on form, right? But now it is just not working, right? And so many things can come up in this sense as to whether the players are losing motivation, or is it whether the replacements that came in are not on par, right, with the ones that left? Is it the lack of squad depth because the squad seems a little depleted, or is it just, as maybe Ten Hag mentioned, empires come to an end sometimes? And again, I wouldn't want us to jump the gun because it is Man City, right? And we haven't seen them in this state before. So, in as much as we would want to be very quick to say, oh, City is crumbling, let's give it to the end of the season first. And he'll be here next season as well. So, until the man has left the league, we
I hope he doesn't leave though.
that is the hope
Oh
for
yeah,
me.
we can hope for anything, right?
For me, I want him to leave because he has tormented us for too long.
No, I don't. No, I don't want him to leave.
No,
I like. I know. I really want him to stay so that he sees what other people sees and deals with what other people deals with, because um, it's part of being. I think it's part of his game is to leave before the narrative is clear, like
there's
clear.
nothing wrong with that.
Oh no, there's nothing wrong with that. But for my own personal, for me, my own personal, like as I have come to, and I'm not trying to pretend like I'm not enjoying this whole thing. For me personally, I
What?
need him to stay because if he leaves, he does exactly the same thing did in Bayern Munich and cut the narrative short, or
No,
Barcelona.
but he's
No,
been at this club for 10 years.
which one?
City. 9 to 10 years now, or if
But
I'm
he
not
can.
mistaken.
Sar stayed for 20 now, so he can stay for 20 or
The
more.
man says he's tired. He wants to breathe.
No, we'll give him 4 months break during the summer and put his assistant coach.
So the thing now is he'll be here until 2026. And one thing is certain. Now that we are waiting for, because they said the hearing has been done for their charges, the
1:30 now. Let us go and check whether we'll find more.
good. So now that the hearing has been done, we are waiting for the verdict. But all that we know is that he is going to be here until 2026.
I like that.
If things are to go in their favor, you can be assured that they are going to splurge on the market
Oh no, they
without
can.
holding back.
You know what is interesting? They wouldn't be able to splurge on the market because now there are eyes to financial fair play, and
No, City has always had eyes on them, but they still find a way. That is
but
why they have the charges on them, because
no,
they cook their
but this is
books.
the thing. In the business of what they do in this magic trick of the more you look, the less you see, the key to it is delay. In processes of investigation, you can keep spending, delay the investigation, and get away with it for 3 4 years. The
Uh-huh.
problem with Man City now is that when this verdict comes in, the penalties would include what I'm just using an example. When Chelsea couldn't have a transfer in Frank Lampard's year for a full year.
Mm-hmm.
You know how that puts a club back in terms of being in the transfer market. And I think the fantastic job Frank Lampard did in those circumstances. So my point is, whatever the consequences of the action is, whatever they choose to do, right? There will be some penalty that would limit their ability to splurge. He can't handle that because he
No, I
needs
think
that splurge.
one thing is also certain: City has the resources to appeal whichever, and that is what
That's
they're likely going to
that's
do.
the delay. You see what I mean? That is
Good.
the delay.
So
Is the
it gives
delay.
them room to still spend.
And then he will not delay till 2026, and then when the charges come, he will not
He
give one
leaves.
other person to deal with the problem.
He
That is my
leaves.
point about Pep Guardiola. I want him to deal with the problem and not give it to the next one. Let's not hand the baton of glory. Let's not take glory and hand the punishment to another man. And it is a very common trick in my opinion, of some people that get to very high levels, is the idea of, I will take the glory when the kingdom is falling, we'll hand it over early, and we will only take the kingdom when it is growing and flourishing, but we won't put in the work. My point
No,
about it is, I don't know if it is accurate or not. I really don't care. I just love the idea of it playing out, where when you enjoy the benefits, you are there to deal with the problems.
no, this is you thinking in the ideal sense, but we don't live in an ideal world,
Oh no, I agree.
right?
That's why I'm like,
And
can we just have 2 years of ID, like a little 2 years? I'm not asking for it
unfortunately,
to.
you won't. Unfortunately, you won't get that, because even in the world of business, big business, most CEOs, they resign when they see that the
Oh
ship is sinking.
yes, oh yeah, absolutely.
They
And they
resign,
only
they
take
take
the
the big
job
severance, and
when when the
yes,
ship is now almost at the top.
all right. So it is not out of place for people like Pep
Oh
to.
no, I think it's smart. I just think it makes for good um, talk or good conversation. If
No,
he,
absolutely.
it makes for me with this whole thing, it makes for excellent conversation if he's there. For me, I would enjoy it if he stays. If he leaves, just the way Eric Ten Hag has gone, I feel like there is so much conversation. I'm not so excited to have anymore. You know what I mean? I would have liked Ten Hag to stay a little longer to for my own conversation pleasure.
Of course, Ten Hag was the entertainment, right? Because he also said some very outrageous things during his media briefings and whatnot. So
It's made for good television or
absolutely.
good programming. Oh yeah, but it's interesting though. I would see if I can find a post game press conference during the week for this game against Manchester United. See how Pep Guardiola. You know, one thing I always say is, when you see them at the end of the game, not shaking hands, then their brain is, how can I,
Yeah.
how am I going to explain? Then their brain starts going, what bullshit am I going to say today? It feels like all these movies where in their head they're like, they are waiting for me in the press conference. What am I going
What
to
do I
tell
say?
them today? What do I say? But I think it's fun. No, I appreciate this, Daniel. This has been an fantastic live stream, in my opinion. Ahmad made it super interesting at the end,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So I really enjoyed the live stream. I appreciate you for coming through. I know there were
No, it was a
technical
pleasure as
issues.
well.
I
My
absolutely
internet
don't.
was not the best, but
I hope whoever viewed it at least was able to hear what we said. So I appreciate you coming through. It made this a whole lot more fun. I enjoyed it. Anybody that actually, I see here there were about 54 views. So some people might have come in and gone
oh
out.
wow.
I appreciate anybody that came in at any point or rewatches it. I appreciate you for making some time to join the stream. Hopefully, you enjoyed a bit of it. Hopefully, you liked it. But I appreciate anybody that came through. I appreciate Daniel for coming through here. Basically
Thank you
distracting
very
for the
much.
big game. We need to get to the Chelsea game. And that game needs to be watched with some level of concentration. So I appreciate you for being here. Any final words?
No, I think the final words, first off, thank you to everybody that tuned in. Even if it was just a minute or two, we appreciate it because you made time to at least get to hear our opinions. I would also want to apologize. My network is not the best. But all in all, this is a good time to enjoy games. And it's the festive season. So I hope our viewers, our subscribers, people that enjoy our conversations, take good care of themselves and their families, enjoy the holidays, eat good food, enjoy the games
Yes.
as they come as well. And yeah, just hang in there because we have a lot more for them coming up.
Yes, I appreciate everyone. It's the festive season, it's the holiday season, compliments of the season to anybody, everybody, however you celebrate, even though we're just thanking God for getting to this point of 2024. We appreciate everyone. We hope everybody has a fantastic holiday season, a joyful one, something to celebrate as we head into 2025. Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm going to wrap this up. Don't
Thank you
forget
very much.
to like the channel, subscribe. Anyone that came through, watch throughout, however way you actually consume the content, or going to watch after this is over.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I did have a lot of fun doing it. I appreciate everyone on here. Thank you so, Daniel, for coming through.
Thank you very
Likewise.
much.
Have a good
And
day,
goodbye
guys.
to everyone.